Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding for Senior Report is provided in part by a grant from Andrew Goodell, Assemblyman for the 150th District of the New York State Assembly. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning. Let's see. That wind out there. What a beautiful day in Chautauqua County. Actually, we had a blizzard and it was supposed to be apocalyptic, but apparently it's okay. There's not very much snow. And coming over the hill, I didn't have any problems at all. It is icy out, though, so wear your boots and be careful when you're walking around. We have a terrific program coming up. This is our annual Christmas program of sorts. I always try to invite a well-known, respected minister or priest to our program. And we have the best on earth right now. We've got an Episcopalian priest. His name is Chuck Wheeler, and everybody's familiar with Chuck because he's been around forever and ever, and he's very active in our communities. And he's going to talk a little bit about the meaning of Christmas to him personally and to you. Lots of things happening out there in the world. I just don't watch much television anymore because I get so angry at it and I start yelling, and my wife says, they can't hear you, Reed. Don't hold it. There's very little national news excepting the sad incident where all those children were killed, and of course the politicians, the pandering politicians, some of them jump on board and say we need more gun control, although they're already thousands of gun control laws on the map right now. No, the only people who can't get guns anymore are law-abiding citizens because it becomes so difficult under the Sullivan Law in New York State. Try to get a pistol, and it's becoming a nightmare for the law-abiding citizen, and the non-law-abiding citizen couldn't care less. He goes down to the corner and buys a pistol for $50. It takes no trouble at all. No permits, no instruction, no courses, no licensing, no background, nothing. Hey, Johnny, here's $50. Give me a gat. That's the way they do it. Well, getting worse and worse. One of the interesting things that I noted on television, though, when they were having the gun control debate, I did listen a little bit, is that when the Second Amendment was passed, they had announced that this was not for goose hunting, but for the ability of the citizen to defend himself from an oppressive government. One of my callers last week said it's about time, I guess. But back then, They didn't have automatic, semi-automatic weapons or anything. They had muzzle loaders. That was it. You had to stop, load the thing up, put down some powder, pour the right amount of measure of powder in it. Then you had to jam a cotton wad with a bullet into it, and then pack it tight. Go back and put a new cap, or I guess back then they didn't even have caps. They had just flint and steel. Sharpen your flint a little, put some powder in your pan, and you were ready for the second shot. That's the kind of guns they had when they passed the right to bear arms law. Oh well, times do change, and of course you apparently can carry anything but an automatic. Many people confuse a automatic with a semi-automatic gun. Now, an automatic gun is a machine gun. It goes, brrr, it shoots thousands of shots off as long as you hold the trigger. Semi-automatic guns, you have to click the trigger each time to shoot it. 90% of the guns that are owned in this country are semi-automatic guns. All the pistols are semi-automatic. You just keep shooting. You gotta pull the trigger though. And the shotguns and rifles, most of them that hunters use today are semi-automatic. You have to squeeze off a shot each time. Well, now many of the gun control people are saying we should outlaw all weapons of mass destruction. But that means that the AR-5 and the M1, things like that, which are semi-automatic, should be outlawed. Well, that leads to outlawing all semi-automatics, which means most guns in this country would suddenly become illegal. Almost all the guns would be, because that's the way guns are made now. It goes on and on. I won't get into some of the details of it, but it becomes frantic and silly in some ways. And I agree quite that we should keep guns out of the hands of the mentally disabled and crazy people of all sorts around. But unfortunately, it's pretty hard to spot them. And there's a blog running around now on the internet. Some woman has a son who's threatening to kill her, kill everybody, carries a knife, even he's very dangerous, and she's recommended that the school check him out, evaluate him. They won't bother. Well, so much for mental health and checking out the nutcakes. Oh well, the nutcakes incidentally can use anything. They can stab, they can use dynamite, they can use clubs, bats, anything. Guns are more efficient though, and better for killing people, sadly, as it is. All right, enough said about the gun control raging on and on and on every day, all day long. Snow. We had some snow. Beautiful out. It's just a little light layer of snow, and we may have, they tell us, snow for Christmas. So won't that be nice? And one of the little gifts we got from the New York State authorities was they're not going to charge us an additional 46% or 44%, depending on how you read it, charge for the thruway for trucks. Now, you know, if they put a big charge on, well, incidentally, the thruway, when they put it up for a vote, they swore there'd be no tolls after 30 years. Tolls for 30 years to pay for the mortgage and the passage of the act. And once the thruway is paid off, and after 30 years, there'd be no tolls, they'd be dropped. Almost the day they were supposed to be dropped, they raised them, and they've been raising them ever since to where they're becoming very, very expensive. And then they wanted, just after the recent round of raises, they wanted to charge trucks an additional 46%. And who would pay that? The truckers? No. Truck owners? No. The drivers? No. That would be passed on to the supermarket. And you think they would pay for it? No. They will pass it on to you-know-who, you and me. Well, the state in their wisdom said this is not a good idea. There's enough anger about this. They dropped the plan. God knows how much they will wind up charging or how they'll sneak it in. But they have dropped the plan. Oh, God help us. Lots of other things going on. I think I'll give you some of the great news. We do have some good news around. The seniors have the greatest clubs in the world in Chautauqua County. Really, they do. Towns, churches, counties, villages, little burgs, even Westfield. A village of 1,500 people. They have a Senior Center. It's over the YWCA. And Shirley Capeen High, she's the president, and she has a husband who's long-suffering Copeen, John Copeen. And John is on the fire department still. He uses his walker to get around. He's on the fire police. Does a good job, though, very enthusiastic. I wanted to mention that the Brockton crowd had a Christmas party already. You know, most groups have. Robin Carr is the president over there, no relation to Red Carr, who is the mayor of Westfield. But they had a wonderful dinner over there. And the dinner was interesting. You had a choice of lasagna or prime rib. You had a choice of copper or gold. I'd take that prime rib every day. And they had ice cream and all kinds of wonderful stuff. Hello, Ray Johnson, Al Seavey and Terry Selig, Lou Ann, Mary and Tony, who wonderful dinner they served up. Thank you from Nina's Kitchen Food Pantry for the club's donation. You know, the seniors give a lot of dough out occasionally. You know, they don't have much, but they do. Happy birthday over there to Brockton seniors is Baby Jesus, number 1. Maggie Rogers and Ruth Stratton, and 56-year anniversary to Harold and Phyllis Buvots. Wow, that's 56 years. Woo! I'm only 50. Get well cards are passed around, and they do all kinds of wonderful things over there in Brockton, Portland. I shouldn't say Brockton. It's Brockton, Portland. Now, come on here, paper. All right. They have some new people coming in, and they had a gift exchange, and Santa came around. I see Santa skulking in the shadows around here. We'll see. New people coming up are, let's see, President Margaret Jagoda, Vice is Rick Cranston, Secretary is Ruth Neal. Hello, Ruth Neal. I used to travel on the bus with her for years. Robin Carr is the Assistant Secretary Treasurer. Rita Stonefoot, Assistant, is Patricia Zangi. Chaplain Alberta Blakely, and the Sunshine Committee is Miriam Wilson and Kate Cranston. They pair up for things. That's a great idea. New members are always welcome. January 28th, next meeting, potluck luncheon at the Brockton Legion at 12 o'clock noon. And the committee over there handling the food, which is very important, and the coffee and stuff, will be Joan Bertrando, Patricia Zangi, Rita Stonefoot, and Julia, I think in this weather it's Snowfoot, Stonefoot, and Julia Schrantz. Hi. Mayville, they have a big crowd over here in Mayville, a very enthusiastic bunch. And I want to say Joyce Ayers is the one who does the job, turns the key, and does everything there, much of it. And they have a big crowd show up regularly. Let's see, after the flag salute, they had, don't ever try to outsmart a woman. All right. I've never been able to outsmart my wife. Not even my girlfriend. All right. Anderson and Kelsey do the trips, and they said, hey, guys, what do you like? Where do you want to go this year? They produce the suggestions for the trips. All right, a lot of wonderful things here going on. The officers for the coming year, President Ayers, Vice President Miller, Second Vice President Gustafson, and Secretary Ailing and Treasurer Brown. Okay, and they got some wonderful gifts over there, did some Christmas favorites. Skip Roberts sang some old tried and true Christmas songs, made famous by Bing Crosby, among others. White Christmas, what else, huh? Yeah. Next meeting of the seniors over there in Mayville, January 3 at noon at the Mayville VFW. We're going to talk about all kinds of wonderful things over there. Silver Creek seniors, they meet at Route 5, about the intersection of Route 5 and 20, and it's a nice place. They've got their own place. They pay for it and everything. The president is Ed Newman over there. And let's see, Dorothy Maneri said a prayer in place of Irene Connie. Who was ill. All right, whatever. They had an audit, they passed the audit, and prizes were won by Ed Prowse Steger high-rise tenants. Pat's Catering serves a fabulous meal over there. Consisted of prime rib and breaded pork chops. Well, at least you got a gold and silver on that one. And the bad potatoes and baked potatoes, broccoli, cheese sauce on the broccoli, dessert, coffee cake with cherries on it. I mean, they know how to eat over there at the Steger high-rise apartments. And it says everybody enjoyed the meal. Westfield, last but not least, they meet at the YWCA in Westfield. That's just down from the library. And the tables over there were decorated by Gladys and Dan Hess, who are very active, do a lot of work over there. And Dan Hess and Gladys do a lot of community service, I might add. Shirley Copine opened the meeting, and I read you all about this before, so I don't have to go through it again. Potluck dinner at noon at the Y coming up for their next meeting. All right. Hello, Sally Merwin over there. They tell me I'm finished. Whether I'm finished or not, there's no more time. I've taken more than my fair share of time. And we have a guy waiting right here to go on the air. And he tells it as it is just after we do our public service announcement. And this is for you and you
Welcome
and
to
you.
Cook It Safe Challenge, where teams compete to make the right decisions about safe food preparations. Our challenge in this round, read and follow package cooking instructions and use a food thermometer. Let's see how our teams are doing so far. Team 1.
We just got 100 points.
We separated our raw food from our cooked food.
Team 2.
We got a 100-point green card for proper hand washing before our meal prep.
We've reached a critical safety point in the challenge. Okay, Team 1, let's check this out. Uh-oh, not a safe internal temperature for those hamburgers. That puts everyone at high risk for foodborne illness. You get a red card, undercooked. Always read and follow the package cooking instructions and use a food thermometer. Let's see how our winning team cooked it safe and avoided problems.
Well, I just kept focus on the 4 food safety steps: clean, separate, cook, and chill.
And we followed the package cooking instructions and took the temperature.
Can you cook it safe?
And I risk my life every time I cook hamburgers because I like mine rare. At least the worst I want is medium rare, so there's still some red in it. And of course, I could drop dead immediately from some sort of god-awful disease. But at this point, I've survived and I've enjoyed my hamburgers all the way. Here he is, John Hamels. Doc, he's on the air.
Good morning, everyone, and I guess we're now live in Jamestown. Hi, everybody, and Randy, thanks for calling in and letting us know that we're on the air over there. Well, Reed, it's been an interesting week, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
First of all, I have some sad news. I know we report on what. Ooh, look at that new banner. It's sort of a
That's a
Christmas.
Christmas
Very
banner.
nice.
Christmas.
Anyways, I have some sad news out of Ripley. Did you know Edna Kofod?
Nope.
102 years old. She was a former teacher in Ripley, and I just got word from her nephew today, Roger Testrake, that she passed away. And she was our oldest resident in Ripley. And so anyways, condolences to the family. On a different note, though, I want to just switch gears. Oh, hi, Chuck. You know, I don't normally see you without glasses and with your collar there. I've known Chuck from a different life, so we'll hear from you later. Well, anyways, Reed, we both travel a lot, and a number of years ago, I was down in deep Mexico, and I was really interested in what was going on in history and so forth, and so I brought back a very, very rare item here.
That's the Aztec calendar.
There's the Mayan calendar.
Oh, it's the Mayan calendar.
Mayan calendar, and I just
What's that 2012 thing?
We're
there?
working on that.
Oh.
So I've been studying this for years, and it's in a particular part of our house where I look at it every day, and I've been researching it, and I finally figured out what the problem was with the Mayans. All right, they forgot about daylight savings time. They didn't put in the gross national product of differential, and I don't think they accounted for the Canadian exchange rate
In the leap year.
and the leap year. So I think if you compound all of that together with the fiscal cliff, I think they're off by maybe 100 years or so, one way or the other. But this is actually a duplicate of that, and if you've never seen one, Don, can you do a little close up on that at all? It's very interesting because if this was the real thing, all the rings would turn just on all these go different directions, and these are different indicators of different months in the years and so forth. But anyways, it's kind of ornate, and it's just really kind of cool. And if you've never seen one, it just has a lot of interesting carvings on there. So anyways, I just wanted you to know I did my research, and I could see where they could have, maybe when the kids were playing in the living room at the Mayan castle, they might have bumped it or something and, goofed up the calculation or something.
If the Mayans were so smart, how come they were extinct? They were all killed off.
Well, I saw a show last night, and they said they moved to Georgia. No, down in Florida. Remember Mayans, I think Miami, they were in Florida. Well, this is the time of year that we always try to do something fun here, Reed, as you know. Now, we know that you're really into technology and gadgets and things, and last year we got the zipper tie. That didn't work out so good. Your head was too big or something. I don't know what happened. But anyways, so we all chipped in and always spared no expense.
Shall I open it right now?
I can open it right now because that's just the beginning part of it.
Oh, there's more?
Oh, yeah, there's always more.
There's Santa, okay. And then there's
and this is the directions for your gift,
There's
okay?
a note in here.
There's a note.
It says, warning,
Yeah,
never push any of the 3 black buttons.
that's right.
You get in trouble.
With the FCC, yeah. So I had to make an executive decision for the team, and we're not going to give this to you today, or on the air, that is, but we're going to give it to you later off the air. And
Because I would probably do bad things with it.
you might do some bad things with this. So this is, but it's technology, and I know you like technology, and he always introduces me with this buttons and things like that. So this could be an alternative set of buttons for you for the holidays.
Okay.
But I want you to try this out at home before you present it here with children and weak hearts. Anyways, Reed, thanks for all you do. The crew and I, we always enjoy working with you and taking your calls, folks. So happy holiday, Merry Christmas. Forget the happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Let's just say it. Merry Christmas. Get it out there. We can do those things here on Access 5.
Right.
And last thing I want to say is, well, 2 things. That if you haven't caught the Christmas special that Chuck Kelsey produced, it's got Amanda Barton in it, Bill Ward and myself. It's a very, very nice Christmas show, and they're airing it on Access 5 and Jamestown, all over the place.
And you can catch it, I think, on
You can do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you just type in Christmas in Your Heart, Access 5, in the little window, it'll take you right to the show, and we have almost a couple hundred hits already on it.
Yeah.
And so I'm really pleased with that. It's a nice show. And finally, kidding aside with the Mayan calendar, I heard Chuck saying that we survived all these different ends of the world. But if you live your life every day as if it is the last day, you make sure that by the end of the day that you've squared up all your receipts and debts in life, and you've loved your wife and your family to the very fullest. I don't care what happens tomorrow. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Me too. I was telling my son, I've lived a wonderful life, and if the world ended tomorrow, I'd be fine, no problem. I've done it all. I've seen it all, thanks to 50 years of marriage to a wonderful woman. All right, here we go. We have with us Chuck Wheeler, the Reverend Chuck Wheeler, who's a priest in the Episcopal Church. Episcopal. And you are an Episcopalian.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and people confuse those. And it's like the Chautauqua Institution and the Chautauqua Institute. And it angers people when you call them an institution, because they're the institute.
Well, we're the Episcopal Church, and members of the Episcopal Church are Episcopalians.
Yeah, there we go. So. And you also are kind of, let's say, you're the true Catholic Church, according to my informants.
Well, I don't want to leave that lie, because our Roman Catholic brothers would take exception to that. So we are a part of the Universal Church, the body of Christ, and our brothers are from all denominations, including the Roman Catholics. So.
Yes, and you're one of the few notable, let's say, high-collar churches, if you could say that have women in it as priests.
We do indeed.
You do have a priest in Westfield who's a lady.
She is indeed, Virginia Carr.
And you call her father, right?
Well, that's a good question, because one of the first questions I asked her when she was ordained was what she wanted to be called, how she wanted to be addressed, and she said pastor. So
pastor, okay.
that covers it.
Okay, good. And you're the assistant there, right?
I am currently the assistant or the associate pastor.
What does the assistant associate pastor do?
Well,
he does the books, or
no. God forbid that I would do the books. all be in trouble if I did them, but I do pastoral calling, I do some pastoral care, and I also do a healing, offer healing at the altar on Sunday morning. And last year, or this past September, we organized a health fair for St. Peter's and for the community. So I guess anything that needs doing,
You're there.
I do.
You're the backup man, backup priest. Okay, now, where were you ordained? You used to be a priest, a minister in another denomination, didn't you?
I was a Baptist minister or Baptist pastor at one time, and then felt a calling to the Episcopal Church.
Are you still a Baptist minister now? Are you both now?
No, I'm a Episcopal
So
priest.
you resigned from the Baptist ministry?
Yes, I did,
Yeah, okay.
with fond memories.
Fond memories. You have a family here in the area, right?
Yes, my wife and I live in West, actually just outside the village of Westfield, and we're very, very happy. I have a wife and 2 dogs, and many step-grandchildren, and we're very, very happy.
You have a big family. Do you get together at Christmas?
Yes, we do.
Okay, we do too in my house. We have a traditional, I think originally it was a Greek tradition, Italian, and that is we have fish on Christmas Eve.
That's a wonderful tradition.
And the fish we have is crab bisque with big chunks of lump crab in them.
Well, that would qualify as fish, yes.
That's it gilds the lily for sure, I'll tell you.
Indeed.
My son is a master chef, and he makes it every year. My wife used to, but at this point she doesn't do that kind of thing. And then Christmas Day, the family reconvenes at my house, and we have usually a roast beef.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Everybody has their own traditions, don't
Right.
they?
Yes, they do.
We all have traditions that are meaningful to us, and in fact, I talked to someone the other day who said that we have this Christmas tradition that we observe, and I said, "How long have you observed it?" And they said, "Oh, since last year." So every tradition starts with the first year and continues from there.
Yeah, well, we've been having crab bisque, I think, for about 50 years.
Well, that's a wonderful tradition. I'll have to suggest that to my wife.
Well, all my children grew up having crab bisque on Christmas Eve, and it just ain't the same without the crab bisque.
I would think not.
Well, Chuck Wheeler, the Reverend Chuck Wheeler, now we were coming together to talk a little bit about the meaning of Christmas and the non-meaning of Christmas. One of the things I will immediately identify that troubles me about Christmas is what I consider over-commercialization.
Yes.
People are using this as as a means to sell stuff, to make money. And a lot of the businesses make all their money at Christmas time, or a lot of it,
Yes,
a
they
huge
do.
chunk of it. And one of the things they do is they grab your children who are watching TV, and on the children's programs, the kiddie programs, they sell these very expensive Christmas gifts.
Oh, indeed. They're very expensive. The more expensive, the better for the merchant.
Absolutely, and of course, in this day of electronics, that's easy to do. I mean, these kids want games that cost $100, $200. Some of these things. It's getting out of hand. But I used to say that almost 40 years ago when I did this program in New York. So it's still getting out of hand. But tell me about it. What is the meaning of Christmas? I know the Pope wrote a book about it, which was just published, and he said that's a lot of nonsense. Bunk 'em anyway. There was no Christmas in December, and there were no lambs or wise men around, and it's a glorified story.
Well, I would have to take exception with some of what he said, but in many ways he had a valid point. I think when you reflect upon it and think about it, the true meaning of Christmas is not necessarily a date, December 25th. The birth of Christ could have occurred in April, and some people think it occurred in the spring in the Holy Land. So it's not necessarily the date. It's not necessarily whether there were wise men at the manger or whether they were on their way to the manger. The details are not necessarily that important, although in our Christmas pageants and so forth and in Scripture we read about the shepherds and the sheep and so forth. No one knows exactly what happened. We didn't have CNN to bring us coverage of the birth of Christ and all that. But what is important, I think, Reed, is the fact that Christ was born. He was born at some time of the year, perhaps in the late winter or the spring. That he was born in as prophesied, as foretold by the Old Testament scriptures, Isaiah and so forth, and that he did come to earth to be God incarnate, God in the flesh, to live amongst us, to grow up as we grow up, to be amongst us, to understand human nature perhaps better than he had before, to tell us about God in a way that no other prophet has ever told us about God. And not only to tell us about God, but to model what God expects of us as human beings, to love each other, to have compassion with each other, to be giving, and all that. And then to die on the cross, and that's why we celebrate Easter, to take upon himself the sins of the world, and through him we might find forgiveness of our sins, and that we might find eternal life. So it was a wonderful thing that God would love us so much that he would come to earth in the flesh, that he would be born of a young woman, a virgin, as the scriptures predicted, and that he came to love us and to die for us and to communicate to us how much God really, really loves us. And I think that such words as hope and faith all are very, very descriptive of what Christmas is all about. When we talk about the commercialism, and Reed, I would very much agree with you, and I'm sure that many, many, many of the viewers would also agree. It started out as a time to buy gifts, to exchange, to give to loved ones, especially to children. But it kind of got out of hand, it seems. All of a sudden, the commercialism overtook even Thanksgiving. They have Christmas decorations out before Halloween. Walk into Walmart or Kmart and you see Christmas trees before you see Halloween displays. So it got out of hand, and I think that is the tragedy of Christmas. And yet for us, it's also the challenge of Christmas. The tragedy is that commercialism overtook the central message and meaning of Christmas, the birth of Christ. But it's also a challenge for us to bear witness at this time of the year to the true meaning of Christmas.
Well, thank you, Chuck. I must admit, my wife and I don't give each other Christmas gifts and never have. It's just a little handy, silly thing, you know. And I think the perfect Christmas gift is something handmade by the giver.
Yes.
And I want to thank Chuck Kelsey. Here's his Christmas gift, and it's handmade. He dips big pretzels into chocolate, and then he decorates it with white chocolate, and they are absolutely delicious. There's nothing better than a chocolate pretzel.
Oh, and they look delicious.
Thank you, Chuck Kelsey, who incidentally established this site, this program, and has built a gorgeous studio over here in the old school. And if you ever want to see what it looks like or how it is to run a program, come on over. You're welcome. We almost always have somebody in the audience, and you can watch the whole shooting match here. We're on at 9 o'clock and off at 10 o'clock. So anytime between 9 and 10, we're live on television. Right now we're live.
Very live.
Somebody's calling in. We'll get their call in a minute. Chuck Wheeler, the Reverend Chuck Wheeler, is a priest in the Episcopal Church. And I got to be careful when I say Episcopalian, because he is an Episcopalian. We have a lot of things going on. Of course, there's many people who are questioning what happened in Connecticut.
Yes.
You know, you say God loves us and God basically controls everything. And then again, you try to put this in conjunction with the murder of all those kids. That's tough.
It is tough, and it was a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Yep.
What happened to them? And people ask, where was God while this was happening? People were asking, where is God during 9/11? People were asking, where is God when the Great Depression hit, I'm sure. People, whenever there's a tragedy, whenever there's a disaster, people ask, where is God?
They blame him.
They blame him.
Yeah, you see.
They blame him. But we all live in a world which is fallen. We all live in a world in which earthquakes and hurricanes
We got a phone call too.
and so forth happen. And I think the answer, to put it briefly, is that God is with us all the time, and through his people, he has provided for rescuers, first responders, firemen, police, and so forth
to help out.
to help us.
Okay, we got a couple of calls. You want to take one?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Well,
Just fine.
I'm doing super good today.
I was wondering if you would discuss the commonalities of the religions as in Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. And one example I understand would be the Golden Rule. They all have an equivalent of that. And we seem to want to find differences and fight, but there are a lot of things in common.
There you go. Thank you. And besides Merry Christmas, John, and I want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah and a wonderful Kwanzaa.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And I'm sure the Muslims have something at this time of year too, but
Well,
I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure about that. They do have their celebrations,
Yeah.
and they do have their holidays that they observe.
Well, the reason that they say that Jesus was born biblically around Christmas is because it was a dull time of the year, and that's the time they wanted to bring everybody's spirit up. So it's a great way to do it.
It is a wonderful way to do it.
And even though they're lambs which aren't born until the late spring in the mangers, and incidentally, the atheists are sure trying to shut them down. I see it all over the place. They say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're not allowed to have Christian stuff on public property."
I've heard that, yes.
Yeah.
We've all heard that. I think the commonality of religions is a good subject to consider, because all the major religions of the world, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, do have many things in common. As the caller said, the Golden Rule, certainly. But also,
what is that Golden Rule? In case somebody
do
doesn't
unto
know.
others as you would have them do unto you.
Okay, there you go.
Treat others with the same concern, compassion, and respect with which you would want to be treated.
There you go.
So they do have some commonalities, also some differences, and we could talk about those for several programs. And I'm not really qualified or don't have time to get into all of them, but we have a ministerium, for example, as many communities do. And although even amongst the Christian denominations, we have differences of interpretation, differences of perspective in some ways, we have many commonalities in which we can agree and work together with. I noticed that at the memorial service in Connecticut for the children and the adults who were killed, they had Baha'i, they had Christian, they had Jewish, and they had Muslims come together to worship and to pray together. And although some people may take exception to that, I was moved by it and felt that God was glorified and God was praised in that event.
So they did come together,
They
and
did.
we all do at different times, because we have one thing in common. Apparently, we're all human. And
We're all human beings.
there's a human element in everything they
Yes.
do. Even buying toys, which is sort of a human thing. You like to buy happy things for your children.
Indeed.
And
We all have children whom we love, and we want to be happy, and we want to see them succeed.
yes. Now, in your ministry, how do you celebrate Christmas at the Episcopal Church? Episcopal Church happens to be a very old church, and they said some people claim it's the true Catholic Church.
Well,
But what do you do? Anything special over there?
we begin with what we call Advent. We have a liturgical calendar, which includes liturgical seasons, beginning with Advent. That's
Yeah.
the beginning of the liturgical year.
Yeah, the kids get a little thing with windows they open for
Right,
Advent. Yeah.
right. Advent calendars. We also have Advent wreaths.
Uh-huh.
And the purpose of that read is to prepare our hearts, to prepare our minds for the coming of the Christ child. And
Okay.
we move from there to Christmas.
Okay, we'll stop there. We've got two callers want to come
All
in.
right.
And we only have time for one until a little later. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Reed.
What's
This is
up?
Randy.
Well, Randy,
Hey,
hi.
sorry we couldn't make the show. It's a little nasty down here in Jamestown.
I
this
bet
morning.
it is. Do you have much snow over there?
You know, we got anywhere from, you can see the grass, to drifts of probably 3 feet.
Holy macaroni.
I had to get Chris last night at college, and I had to drive to Fredonia and back in that weather, and it was absolutely horrible.
This is
Of
Chris.
course, you get down to the bottom of Casadega Hill, and you get into a completely different world.
This is Randy Burt
yes.
and Chris. They help out every week over here, and they've been with us since we started almost, right, Randy?
It's over 7 years now.
They're veterans.
They're veterans. Well, we've been on the air here for, what is it, about
About
Going on
15
18
years.
I think.
since 95,
gonna be
18 years? Wow.
This
Wow.
summer coming. Hey, Reed, I got a question for your guest. In the religious world, what would be a perfect Christmas gift to give somebody? I mean, we can give them, the hand-me-downs at Walmart and stuff, but, I mean, a special gift religiously, to give your relatives.
There you go, Chuck. I would say, first of all, a private jet would be nice. But,
That would be
I'd love
nice.
that. You know me, I like to fly.
Perhaps a Mercedes. I don't know. There's that old song, Lord,
none of this,
give me a
none of this
Mercedes Benz.
high-end stuff. I want something religious. I mean, a Bible. I mean,
Well, a Bible is always a wonderful gift. Some people have Bibles, some have many Bibles. I think back in response to your question of the gifts that were brought by the Magi, or what we call the wise men, to Jesus, and they felt that the gold, frankincense, and myrrh were very appropriate. I wouldn't mind the gold, actually.
Well, nobody knows what the myrrh was.
Myrrh. It was
Yeah.
a spice or something for anointing. But I think that reflecting on that, you need to consider what the person needs, what would be meaningful to them, not go out to the store and just grab the first thing off the shelf, but give it a little thought and give them something that would be meaningful to them. Reed just mentioned a handmade gift. I'm not too handy at making handmade gifts. I made my mother an ashtray in high school in ceramics, and she said she liked it, but I really don't think she did, because it was very ugly.
I gave my mother one when I was 12 years old. I made over at Chautauqua ceramics, and we still have it.
So, well, we don't have it, and I think there's probably a reason.
Yeah.
I know Reed.
What?
Reed gives us handmade cards, and they're really nice. I mean, compared to going and spending $10 for a card, I mean, there's a lot more, like to that than these commercial ones that 8 billion people get, and
and cost $2, and then more,
Oh, yeah.
more every year. Now they got those. I noticed they're advertising the talking cards.
The
oh
musical
yeah, you
cards,
walk by
yes.
them or open them up at a store, and I'll tell you what, they scare the heck out of you.
Yeah, well, they can record your message to Santa.
Yes.
And you tell them what you want. And most of these kids are pretty unsophisticated. If they're going to get his ear, they should ask for that Cadillac or the Rolls
They
Royce.
should indeed, yes.
But I'll let you guys get back because you probably got a lot more callers there, and I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas from Chris and I.
Okay, well, thank you
Trying to
very
get
much.
his lazy body up out of bed. He's a late nighter and a late upper.
Well,
so.
you know, Randy, most people were attending the end of the year, end of the world parties last night.
Oh, I spent the whole week working overtime. You know, we have to make up for these holidays, so I got pretty tired there. I had a couple almost 12-hour days, and that's tough on my big old feet.
Well, when I heard about the Mayan calendar predicting the end of the world yesterday, I immediately thought, if they're so smart, why are they extinct? Why are they all
Indeed.
killed off?
Really?
You know?
Indeed.
Yeah, the Mayans are all dead.
You know,
Although
yeah.
John Hamels tells me he thinks they moved to Georgia.
They may have.
well, that Miami deal too. There,
Yeah.
I guess they're pretty smart. At least they didn't move up in the cold. So,
Yeah.
well, you guys have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully I'll see you next week. And you're looking good here in Jamestown.
Well,
now.
we're on what channel are we on in Jamestown?
You're on channel 19 in Jamestown.
19? Well, I want to thank that lovely Rosie over there who's doing a land office job, volunteering a lot of her talent and time getting you back on the air in Jamestown.
Oh, really? I mean, this
Yeah.
is great for the area to get finally. I've talked to people that they see our press releases in the paper, and it's like, why can't we get it here? Well, now you got it.
Yeah, now
So,
you got it. Well, thanks a lot,
enjoy
Randy.
it.
Have a Merry
Okay.
Christmas yourself and a
You
Happy New
too.
Year.
Merry Christmas.
We got
Merry Christmas.
okay, let's bring that other caller up. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting. Hello.
Well, good morning. This is Linda. Good morning, Reverend.
Well, good
morning,
morning,
Reed.
Linda.
Good morning. What's up?
Well, I'm just saying how much I enjoy the show, and I appreciate everything that the Reverend has to say about Christmas and the spirituality and how significant it is. And I really do agree that the commercialism has kind of detracted from the solemnness and the beauty of it, but it's here. And also, Reed, I wanted to make note that you had mentioned that you and your wife don't give each other any special expensive Christmas gifts. You know, the Kennedys, Jacqueline and Jack and Carolyn and all of that, they used to give each other poems at Christmas.
That's a
and
wonderful
birthdays.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, they would write things. They didn't give anything material.
Well, that's terrific. Well, some people, sadly, consider Christmas gifts as a sign of how much they love someone. They'll give them an expensive gift, and that's I don't know. It doesn't mean anything. That's not sensible. Your love can't be converted into cash and gifts.
No.
Your love should be 365 days a year.
Right.
Christmas every day.
Christmas
Every
every
day.
day. Yeah. And how's that wonderful fellow, that old guy that hangs out with you over there?
The young man.
Young man.
Well, every day with him is Christmas.
Does he get around in his little buddy there?
Well, he doesn't go outside, but he navigates inside. But when the weather gets better, he may be going out in his little scooter.
Yeah, well, I see him every once in a while when I'm over there at Chautauqua. Linda lives in Chautauqua. They have a beautiful home there.
That's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Beautiful community.
Well, I think all of Chautauqua County is so beautiful.
It
The
is?
geography, it's breathtaking. I don't think anything can top it.
Well, when the French came through here, in their anthologies, they continuously wrote, "It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen." It's a truly, one of them pointed out, it's truly a Garden of Eden, Chautauqua County.
You can do no better than Chautauqua County with scenery. And,
Right. Although they said Dunkirk wasn't perfect.
Well.
Oh, come on. And Lake Chautauqua is so breathtaking. I remember when I first saw it, I never saw such a beautiful lake.
Yeah, well, there are usually about this time of year they start putting little huts out there, and it looks like a village. What's going on? There's no fishermen.
No fish.
No fish?
Yeah,
No
well,
ice
they
fishing.
can't walk on water yet.
Not yet.
Well, I want to thank you for your call. What's up? You run some sort of a program for the county, don't you?
I have a senior employment program.
Uh-huh.
It's called the Senior Aid Program. People should call. We are talking to people. We are able to put some people now on our Senior Aid Program. We were kind of restrained for a while because of budget cuts, but we are able to put, in fact, we just are putting someone on this week coming up. So they should call the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging for the Senior Employment Program and other senior services. And the number is 753-4471. And in Dunkirk, toll free 363-4471.
There you go. And there are other programs that are they do have to, for people who are really low on dough and really low on dough, they have the HEAP program, which is really the heat program, and it gives you, pays part of your electric or oil bill or whatever. I applied for it, and I have a wood-burning stove, and they sent me a log.
That was very thoughtful
Yeah,
of them.
well, the problem with HEAP is it's highly touted, but it runs out of money immediately.
Yes.
There's no money.
It's so popular.
You don't get anything. But they suggested I should go out and collect old Christmas trees on the curb and cut them up and use them for heat.
Oh,
Now, I don't think that's true, Reed. I think you're making it up.
In the joyous moment of the season, I am, let's say, exaggerating. They did, when I say they sent me a log, I'm only kidding. They sent me 2 logs.
They were very generous to you.
Well, if you're concerned about generosity, contact your congressman. Tell him to start getting real.
Right. Well, the Congress has ignored the seniors. They've thrown us under the bus, especially with our COLA, so-called cost of living adjustment, which is, we just got news that the new one is in a 5%, everybody, all the pundits, everybody say we're running a raging 5% increase in cost of living this year. They gave us 1.7, and incidentally, we're now getting 48 cents on a dollar from what we got 10 years ago in value for our Social Security.
So don't spend your COLA all in one place.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, I really think it's not our representatives. I think our representatives are trying to, they're aware of what's going on with us, and they're doing everything they can to make the situation better. I don't think it's really our district. It's their colleagues, and maybe they could persuade their colleagues to be more realistic with the needs of people.
Well, especially the seniors. We're being thrown under the bus. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Big cuts in Social Security, big cuts in our Medicare, big cuts in Medicaid, which is half seniors.
Yes.
It looks like they're doing to chop us back. And why do they take away all our health care? Why are they doing that? They hope we'll die.
Well, we're supposed to be contacting our representatives now and letting them know how we feel about things, especially right at this time. And it's not our congressman, but they've got to persuade the others.
Well, you know, that's the way everybody seems to feel. That's how they get away with it. My congressman is not my congressman. It's all those other guys. Well, they contribute each one, and there you go. There's all 500 and some odd members of these.
Yeah, but you can tell how they vote. Look up how they vote, and you'll see.
Yeah, most of them vote slyly, too, I might add. Sometimes it's just a show of hands. You can't even tell who voted for what. And usually it's the middle of the night. Watch the great fiscal cliff be taken care of and worked out in the middle of the night, sometime when everybody's in bed, and with a show of hands. And suddenly you'll find out all the things that you did, the few benefits seniors got are gone, and your taxes are going up, and you heard it first on Senior Report. Your taxes, the poor, the middle class, Chautauqua County, your personal taxes will go up, not the rich. Did you hear that, everybody?
Yes.
You heard it first on Chautauqua County.
Somebody should send a tape to the Capitol.
Yes, indeed. If only they listen to Senior Report. I hear they don't. They actually, they're trying to do away with it.
Well,
I hope they do not succeed.
No. Well, it's an uncensored show. That's what's so wonderful about it.
Right, and I could jump up on my table and pull my pants down and show them my you-know-what, because that's how I feel about how we're being taken care of by the Congress. Seniors are being thrown under the bus. Bye-bye, seniors. You only have one job in life, and that's to end it, apparently.
Well, I think I'm going to wish everyone a very beautiful Christmas.
On that note, happy Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
I
yes.
didn't mean to get you all riled up, see. Reed, I'm sorry I get
Well,
you so excited.
you know just how to trigger it. You know where the buttons
sorry
are.
I got you so excited.
Thank you, Linda, and I wish you and that jolly old man there a great Christmas and a happy New Year. May you prosper, may you have good health, and may you have full joy in living on this earth for as long as you can. There
Amen.
you go.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. Yeah, the long touted Mayan calendar apparently is a day off anyway.
At least.
Oh, well, the world will end someday. Incidentally, it will end. There's no question about it. The sun will consume the earth.
At some point.
In what is it, 1 billion or 2 billion years or something?
God only knows.
God only knows, and he's not going to tell us.
No. The Bible says that nobody knows the day or the time or the hour, but the Bible also says to be, to be ready.
Yep.
When it comes.
Yeah, well, that's the same with the
Whenever.
end, with our end here, which will come for as sure as you and I are sitting here.
Indeed.
We will go to heaven, hopefully. Chuck Wheeler. The Reverend Chuck Wheeler is a priest in the Episcopal Church, and he's a well-known guy in the area and the county. You serve on other boards and things, don't you?
Not currently.
Not currently?
But I have in the past. Right now, I'm doing mainly my work is centered at the church. We also get out into the community as much as we can, and I do what needs to be done as much as possible.
Well, that's good.
As do many other people at the church.
And many other priests and ministers and
Many.
pastors and
Yes.
what have you. You are very special people who certainly help out in a glorified way because you do bring your caring and your kindness to people in need, and that's the important thing, is the people in need.
Not only priests and ministers, but many lay people also, and we don't want to forget their contributions to God's ministry.
Okay, Chuck, I keep getting this. I just got this signal again, and
I hear it.
We're out of here.
Apparently.
They're jumping us. I want to give you 30 seconds, unbroken, just finalize and say goodbye.
I'd like to, first of all, thank you, Reed, for your gracious invitation to appear on this wonderful program. Also, to wish you and your staff, your team, and your viewers a very Merry Christmas. To wish all your viewers a Merry Christmas and season's greetings. And also to remind you that one of the best ways to celebrate Christmas is to go to church and to sing the hymns and to just worship God and give God thanks for the best gift that was ever given, the gift of His Son, our Lord Jesus Christ.
Chuck Wheeler, thank you. The Reverend Wheeler is an associate minister at St. Peter's Church in Westfield, New York. I want to thank all those special people. Sorry, caller, we didn't get the last call in, but maybe you'll come back. I want to thank Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, and John Hamels, and all those people who called in, all those people who are listening and viewing and enjoying our program. May you all have a wonderful, wonderful, warm Christmas, and may all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.